Happy Friday. It is 5:34. We went ahead and switched once again on our platform. We have both StreamYard and Zoom that we interchange, and we have a great guest today, which is Mr. Kyle Jones, co-founder of iCRYO, and he is being chaperoned and escorted by his other co-founder, Bill Jones. And we are very excited to have you. iCRYO has obviously been growing at an alarming rate, and it's considered viral right now. So that is always a positive thing. But, we're really here to discuss the benefits of the things that you are providing to not only athletes, general wellness. We're going to go down the list and really just see so many people being impacted at the level of, no other company right now. And, you've been a part of many companies. If you can give yourself a little bit of a background and intro as far as your experience, you are a professional athlete and you've competed in multiple professional organizations. You also are a business owner, of course. You're a presidential director of ID Life. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So if you can give us a little bit about you, Kyle, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, definitely, Matt. I appreciate you having me on today. It's definitely a blessing to be able to have a platform to speak to others about health, wellness, recovery, preventative things, and just honestly positivity in total. So it's good to be on. I love what you're doing here. A little bit about me for all the viewers. I think it's important to know that I didn't come from anything crazy, right? I was a regular person, an average Joe, just like anybody else. And I just kind of took measures and took things that life gave me and ran with them, which I think is most people today they're shocked and they get stopped by the wall of fear. And fear prevents them from getting to just an exponential level in life that anybody can get to, right? So for me, when I started out in my young years, I was a college athlete, played football in college on a full ride scholarship. That kind of accelerated my knowledge of just the next level of sports, the next level of recovery, the next level of health and wellness. I then pursued my undergraduate degree in exercise science, so furthering my knowledge in what true health was, right? What true wellness was. I'll never forget, it was kind of an eye-opening experience when I transitioned into the physical therapy side of the world, and understanding rehab and how the body works when you do the right things for it, right? And how the body functions. And I was actually pursuing my doctorate to become a physical therapist, and I stumbled across a crazy thing that most people know today as cryotherapy. And when I first saw it, it's kind of like when anybody first sees it and you say negative 200 degrees, I'm not jumping in that thing, right? It's kind of that shock factor where people are like, how is that even possible? And it's just become a global phenomenon over the last decade. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that when guests experience it and try it and they realize it can deal with real issues like rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, just severe chronic pain that would prevent somebody from living a normal lifestyle, this can help with, right? So for me, that's where the passion came from, is being able to help people without having to shove medication down their throat, right? Giving them a natural, holistic way to feel better and to function without pain during the day. And that kind of spiraled into many directions for me. That led me into becoming a national powerlifting champion. I was able to win 2 gold medals, and it just kind of elevated my training. It elevated my recovery. It elevated my stance and my mental capacity to want to do more, right? And instead of experiencing pain day to day and dreading going to the gym, I was excited to go. I felt great. I had the energy. I had the sleep, and I was just a different person. And so for me, going from powerlifting for 6 years nationally, transitioned into bodybuilding, got my pro card, competed in the GBO, competed in the NSL, competed in the MPC, just really dug into, I'm a very competitive person. So it's hard for me to stick to one thing forever, right? It's like you achieve something, you want greatness, but you want it everywhere. And so for me, transitioning from bodybuilding and becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a business owner, and taking my knowledge of nutrition, my knowledge of health, my knowledge of wellness, my knowledge of recovery, and my experiences of all those different journeys, and then putting that into my business. And that's really what the foundation of iCRYO was established on, was experiences in health and wellness, experiences in life, understanding what the average person, so not the Olympic athlete, not people that can't be touched, right? But just the normal person. How can I impact the masses in a way that they've never experienced it before? And that's kind of how iCRYO was born organically, under the mindset of let's help people how they never thought they could be helped before.
You said so much there, Kyle, and we're going to dig into some of the services. I do want to mention that, during COVID, when that first hit, you were considered an essential business for health and wellness. And, that is something that is highly impactful for people who, really just couldn't make it to the gym, because when the gym shut down, iCRYO stayed open. And I'm a firm believer in this. And I know that you freeze, if not daily, maybe even a couple of times a day. And we'll talk about, what age that as soon as you can start, and, some of the clientele that you see come in. If I can just back up just for a quick moment, this is a family run business. This is something that not only you share the passion about, but also, your entire family. So how is it working with your family?
It's funny when people say that. You either have two thoughts. Number one, oh, it's the warm and glittery family culture type business, or number two, are they at each other's throats every single day, right? And so it's funny to kind of listen to the responses from people. But no, it's me and my dad co-founded the company together. We work great together. He does a lot of the back end side of the business, behind the curtains, that nobody sees. A lot of the grinding type sweat that nobody really gives appreciation for. And then I'm definitely more outward facing. I mean, I'm definitely more out there on social. I'm the front end of the house type of guy. So I'm a lot of the operations, and we've worked that way for the longest time. Since forever that I can remember, that's how we've always functioned. So we're very compatible in the sense of what co-founders should be and what a father and son should be. My mother works in the office, in the HR and the office manager side of things, and my sister works in the marketing department. So it's interesting to be a family of four and all have us in the same building at the same time, running the same company. But to be honest, there's a lot more to family to me than just blood. There's people in the company that I would consider family, guys and girls that are part of the company that I went to elementary school with. I mean, just rooted to the ground. To me, those are two versions of family, but we're all under the same roof.
It's really touching to be able to be in that space with your family daily, knowing that you're running a company that benefits all that walk through the door. And you've garnered some attention. I know you've been interviewed nationally, internationally, on Fox, different news outlets, and you've talked about this. And I've had the distinct privilege and honor of being to tour corporate headquarters. You've gotten the attention of major fitness influencers like Paige Hathaway, professional athletes like Jalen Smith. How does that partnership work, and why did they get involved? When they came to you and you guys formed up? What were some of the nitty gritties on that?
Most definitely. So Matt, probably just as well as anybody else that knows me on a personal level, I'm very big about branding. I have a full belief it's one thing to start a company. It's a second thing. It's a completely another level to create a brand and create an image, something that's powerful. When you look at an apple, you don't think of fruit, right? You think of the company. When you look at these different icons, they're symbolic in a way. And so I wanted iCRYO to be just that, and to elevate your brand, to be established in a way to where it holds a symbol of authority, or it's a beacon of wellness, or to show it as an image much different than the way that most people portray any other small business. You have to have massive influencers. You have to be able to capture millions and millions of eyes, but from a good reputation, from genuineness, right? So for me, we wanted to align ourselves with influencers or athletes or celebrities that, number one, they believed in our product. that was the first checkbox. I didn't want to bring somebody on board that didn't believe in what we were doing and the mission behind the company. And Jalen and Paige both represented that. Number two, I wanted people of diversity from different backgrounds. I wanted people that had different beliefs. For me, I'm friends with everybody, right? I believe everybody has greatness in them. And you just have to bring that out. So it doesn't matter to me whether you're a Christian, an atheist, you're white, you're black, you're brown, you're Asian. It doesn't matter to me. I love people for being people. And so for me, bringing people like Jalen Smith, you know, he's a well-educated African-American guy. He comes from a small town in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's surrounded by such positive people. The guy is just such a genuine person. When you sit down with him 30 minutes, you just remembered on how humbled he is and just how great of a nature he has in life. And you immediately think of family when you're around Jalen. You think of a family man, and you realize that he's somebody that you want to lock arms with and do life with. And so, you know, that was something very quickly when me and Jalen sat down. It was interesting how we met. I told our public relations team, I said, hey, it was about 3 years ago. I said, hey, I want to do a charity event and I want to give back this year. It was a really good year for iCRYO. I said, I want to give back to the community. We ended up doing a co-event in Dallas with the Boys and Girls Club. We brought a bunch of gifts. We did a Santa. We actually had Mr. and Mrs. Santa both there. They gave out presents, and it was a co-branded event, Jalen Smith and iCRYO. And it was interesting. Just like I said, 30 minutes. I spent 30 minutes in the room getting mic'd up with him before we went on Fox News. In a 30-minute conversation, he saw my passion, and I saw his culture instantly. It wasn't but 1 week later, his agent called me up and said, Kyle, I don't know what you guys talked about, and I don't know what went out in that room, but Jalen wants to work with iCRYO. And so for us, it's a big meaning behind people just understanding what we're doing, the movement behind iCRYO, and the intentions. And the thing I tell everybody, we don't pay anybody to represent this company. Jalen and Paige are both investors, owners, and franchisees. They have their own locations. So they're putting their sweat, their hard-earned money into this company. And that's something to me that means more than just a paid sponsor, right? Or, you know, you see athletes all the time that get endorsed for millions and millions of dollars, and then 2 or 3 years later, it's another face, right? It wasn't genuine. It wasn't real. And so I get people ask me all the time, like, how much does Paige and Jalen cost? I mean, how much do you have to pay them? I said, actually, it's the opposite way. They put money in iCRYO. So it's to me, it just speaks genuineness and authenticity.
I love that. And, you know, you're exactly right. You know, Jalen has a franchise tag on him. I mean, he's considered for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I mean, we keep up with these gentlemen and ladies. And, you know, Paige has millions of followers and is very influential on Instagram. And, you know, having both of their locations, I'd like just to touch a little bit on the whole franchise concept, because you and I had a conversation on a stair climber many years ago. And, you know, I was like, so who's this guy, Kyle? You know, I knew he used to work in PT, and now he's got this location over here, and it is transformed and morphed into a luxury spa. You know, you've made it over to where it's just pristine. Your staff is so professional. They're accommodating, they're knowledgeable, and you can't find that in very many places these days in a brick and mortar. And you've definitely taken it to the next level. You are the exclusive go-to. How did this start with one location, and where are you at right now currently, and in what cities and what states, and give us your plan for the future before we dig into the services?
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting how it all kind of just exploded. And, you know, I never thought we would be here as a company, and I kind of just let God take the wheel, and we're at where we're at right now, and it's been a blessing. But so we started with the first location about 6 years ago in you know, Little League City, Texas. So it wasn't like we went downtown Houston or Los Angeles or anything huge. And after about a year, you know, my dad pulled me aside. He said, "Man, I think you have something here." And he goes, "You know, let me help you scale this, and let's put together a franchise model." And we were formerly owners in a food franchise, so we knew what it was like having that quote unquote business in a box, right? You had the marketing, you had the sales, you had the operations. I mean, there were systems in there to ensure that you were successful. And so my dad came in and helped me put together systems that made what we have now very fluid, very seamless. It was easy for people to operate and to get into. And one of the interesting things that really drove us to do what we wanted to do in franchising is I actually Googled cryotherapy franchises. And there was not one cryo franchise in the world at that point in time. And so we looked at it like, wheels are spinning, entrepreneur brain is going. I said, you know what? There are going to be other individuals just like myself that have the same passion and intent for helping people that I do. And what better way to reward them than to give them a platform to be able to do that in a seamless way. And so the franchise model was born out of, there are going to be other people like myself. Let's make this easy for them, right? Let's give them that platform to help with their needs. The first year of franchising, we actually became an official franchise in 2017. 2018 was a year of branding. That's where we made the alignment with Jalen, Paige. We started those conversations. 2019 was a year of growth. We sold over 80 locations in the year of 2019. We exploded. The brand went viral. It went nuts. We sold in 13 different states across the United States. Right now is our year of building. 2020, and obviously it takes 6 to 12 months to build a location. It doesn't just pop up when you snap your fingers, right? I wish it did, but it doesn't. And so now we're building. We're working on 30 locations this year, and I want to say about 6 or 7 different states. We're approaching 100 locations sold through the nation, and we're actually having conversations with about 4 different countries right now. So looking to go international this year as well. And like I said, our business plan, I haven't told too many people this, but obviously we're live right now, so I'll share it. But in our business plan, it has us doing upwards of 1,000 locations across the globe here in the next half decade. So, when I talked about earlier a brand, and I think I verbalized this a minute ago, I consider iCRYO as a beacon of wellness. It doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, when you see that iCRYO stamp, people will automatically think true wellness.
Amazing. And you're right. It was one location in little old League City, and now it's known nationwide. It's interesting. I've been to places around the country this year, and I talk about iCRYO a little bit, and I'm like, you ever heard of iCRYO? They're like, yeah, it's that freezing place. And, we've seen cryos, come and go. We've seen locations, not with iCRYO, but other companies trying to replicate what you were doing, and they just can't sustain the business. And not only that, you're growing the business, you're growing the brand and the variety. And that's just incredible to hear, especially in a time of COVID where most businesses are receding. You are actually exploding. This seems to be that thing that just happened to be the right place at the right time with the right people. You guys are definitely the right people. So I can definitely speak to that. When we talk about the services, I know that you are coming now directly from Dallas, from the locations. You're a hands-on individual that needs to make sure that everything is functioning and smooth. And you were in the Frisco location. Yes, we do stalk your Instagram and your Facebook. So we knew that you were freezing about 3.5 hours ago or so. So you're welcome. And, I know that you're on the road constantly. You're flying all over the place. You're traveling to the Florida locations. You're out in the Dallas locations. You've got Fort Wayne, Indiana. You've got everywhere. So what would you say when we talk about the benefits of pure cryo in the chamber? If you could just give us a 2-minute as far as really why people freeze and what that does for your body, what age you could start freezing at, or all the way up to unlimited. What do you typically see with clientele, and what are the benefits?
So it's funny, the question I get all the time, if I'm on the street and somebody sees an iCRYO t-shirt or logo on me or something, they say, hey, I've heard of that cryo stuff. Am I a candidate for that? And the first question I ask them, jokingly but serious, I say, are you a living, breathing person? And then they start checking them. They're like, well, yeah. I said, well, anybody that's a human being walking the planet can benefit from cryotherapy. And I go into the short explanation. Look, cryo was originated back in 1978 by a Japanese scientist, and he was trying to treat rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia, so inflammation in the body. And regardless of whether some people want to admit it or not, everybody harnesses inflammation, right? It's just at what levels do those inflammation markers hit in each person, right? Some people harness inflammation in different parts of the body. It could be your joints, it could be your hands, it could be your back, it could be your muscles, it could be your organs, right? Every part of the body can sustain or harness different levels of inflammation. So our goal with cryotherapy is to reduce that inflammation in the body. When you reduce the inflammation in the body, that's correlated to so many different ailments that you deal with on a daily basis. Headaches, migraines, sleeping problems, insomnia, anxiety, stress, depression. I mean, we're talking about not just physical benefits, which is what cryotherapy is most known for. You know, you think of cryo, you think of athletes, you think of LeBron James, Floyd Mayweather, Kobe Bryant. And it's really not just that. It's not just the inflammation in the muscles. It's the inflammation in the entire body. So it's not just for athletes. For me, it's for every person walking the planet. We have 8 billion potential customers out there. And that's the exciting thing about being in the business side of iCRYO is there's no limit to who can enjoy and receive your services. So for me, I always explain to people, look, everybody's a candidate. The youngest person that I've ever put in a chamber was 6 years old. The oldest person that I've ever put in the chamber was 97 years old. So there's no real age minimum or maximum. There are definitely some criteria that we try to look into as far as contraindications, you know, heart surgeries in the last 6 months, definitely want to consult a physician, stuff like that. Pregnant women, it's just stuff we avoid. I don't think it would harm a child. They actually freeze pregnant women overseas, but here in the United States, things are a little bit more cautious, so we just don't touch that realm. But yeah, I mean, metal rods, plates, screws, plastic surgery, porcelain hip replacements. I mean, anything that's below the skin does not get affected by cryotherapy at all. So somebody that's post-op with a knee replacement or a shoulder replacement, they'd be just fine, and they'd get 100% of the benefits that a normal active person would get.
Well, you bring up two great points, because Tony Robbins actually has a chamber that he travels with before his events, and he will freeze right before he gets on stage. I don't know if you knew that or not. I've been to a couple of his live events, and he publicly speaks about that. He built a plunge pool at his Florida house. So freezing is not new. And I think people who know the benefits of it will find a way to do it. And if you can just speak upon what you're looking for when you're freezing, you're looking for a target of what we call a skin drop. So, you know, if you normally walk around at 96 degrees or 98 degrees and, you know, your skin temp is like 87, why is a 30-degree drop? And I kind of gave the answer, I'm sorry. Why is it important to get a skin drop, and what does that do for the health benefits? And you know, how does that typically work?
Yeah, so it's interesting. You know, there's two different things that we have to educate people on. There's an internal body temperature, which is that commonly known 98.6, right, your core temperature. But then there's also a skin temperature, and that's completely different. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Gotcha. So with cryotherapy, you know, it's a little bit different. We look at skin temperature. We want to make sure that we can judge the drop of your skin temperature, because that's actually what the cold is hitting. If you look at nitrogen, or if you look at cold air, it's very unlike ice. Ice is a liquid cold, so it penetrates the skin. It gets inside the muscle tissue. And there's actually zero science. And I know when I say this, people are going to be researching and trying to prove me wrong. There's zero science that shows how long you should actually do ice for. Most people just say, oh, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Everybody's inflammation is different, like I spoke about earlier. So realistically, everybody should do an ice for different time periods. And the education behind ice is it is a penetrating cold. So even if you did ice for 1 minute too long past your recovery time, it would actually do the adverse effect of recovery, and it would start to damage the tissue, which is not what we want. So with cold therapy, we use either a very chilled type of wind, or we use liquid nitrogen, and it acts as a repellent. So it hits the skin and reflects off. all the benefits of a good recovery from cold therapy without any negative side effects of like a penetrating liquid cold that you get from ice. So when we do that, we focused on a 30 to a 50 degree skin temperature drop. When you look at the body and how it performs under a hypothermic state, it's that fight or flight response, right? When you hit that hypothermic state, your body immediately goes into that mindset of fight or flight. So during that process, and I preface this to say, we know we can live without our limbs, right? We can live without our arms, we can live without our legs, but we cannot live without our vital organs. So when you hit that fight or flight response in the cold, your body thinks survival mode. It extracts the blood from the extremities, it rushes it to the core, and starts to reoxygenate and replenish the blood supply. Well, during that 3-minute session, that's why it's so quick, because all this is happening so fast in your body. As soon as you exit the chamber, your mind realizes that you're no longer in that fight or flight state. Your body is no longer in danger. It's not there to save itself, right? So it actually releases the blood back to your extremities. Therefore, you reduce the inflammation by extracting the blood, and then you've re-entered oxygenated blood back to the extremities. So you're actually getting an endorphin rush, you're getting a serotonin release. I mean, there's just so many benefits past muscle recovery that cryotherapy can do for the human body.
And if you touched on that, I know that you have other services, which I think that is so well said. A lot of times when people are new, they're a little nervous to do it. And, just that succinct walkthrough that all of the techs, are able to go through, it made me feel comfortable. And I came from a Gen 1 chamber, and now you're on Gen 4, and you got music that you can dance to. I mean, it is actually an experience. There's a window that can come down. You can talk to the tech, and it's super cool. So if you haven't checked out the videos, obviously you can go to iCRYO.com. And you'll be able to see those. If we move just to some, we won't be able to get to all the services, I know, but I know that you have an amazing lounge. You have 2 of them. Number 1 is Normatec. So you have compression boots. What would be the benefits? You could sum that up in maybe a quick 2 minutes of just Normatec and why you put compression boots on your legs.
Yeah, so for me, compression's really easy. We actually transitioned from a company called Rapid Reboot. They're an up-and-coming compression company. I think they're going to surpass Normatec a little bit. They have a little bit better quality items, but compression to us and to anybody, it's very similar to like a light massage. It's going to compress different parts of the body. We have hip harnesses, we have arm sleeves, we have leg sleeves. So basically compressing the body and pushing fluid around. It's basically helping out reducing lactic acid to speed up recovery time.
I love it. And you know what? You can actually put the arms and the legs on, and you look like, a sumo wrestler. It is so cool when you walk in, because the ladies are like, would you like a glass of water? And so sometimes you have to like grab it and like, kind of like bring it around. I don't know, but it's something that is highly relaxing. We have caught pictures of people falling asleep for the people we know, and have a lot of fun with that. It's so relaxing, you actually might fall into a deep sleep, but we won't mess with you if we don't know you, we promise. But, we move into the IV center and the IV lounge. And I know that's something that you're just absolutely all over. For those who are afraid of needles, it's not that bad. It actually is, it's very comfortable. I know that you have certified licensed, techs doing it. Talk about IV infusion, and really, because that I think is probably one of the most attractive things that you have in your market.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely caught a ton of attraction in the past few years. I am definitely, like you said just a minute ago, I am one of those people that is terrified of needles. It's funny when I say that, people say, but you got a bunch of tattoos, and that's way different. That's way different. But for me, the IV infusion, it's not bad at all. The needle is such a minimal part of it. For me to be able to do IVs on a regular basis, literally, I probably go at least once a week, if not once every other week, just for optimal hydration. I do take daily vitamins, so I believe in supplementation. But for me, supplementation only goes so far when you do it orally. If you can get something direct to the bloodstream, you're absorbing 100% of what's going inside. And so for me, having a once a week maintenance IV, it's just been so, appropriate, I guess, for my lifestyle. I think it's something that's very essential. We know we're lacking nutrition in food. For anybody that tells you otherwise, they have no idea what they're talking about. We know we're lacking supplementation in food. We know we're lacking nutrients. And so I try to educate people to let them know, you don't need to do an IV every day. It's not something you have to do on a daily basis, but even going in once a month, right? Or once every 2 weeks, just get on a maintenance routine to ensure that your body's getting quality ingredients. For us with the IV infusions, we offer several different infusions. We offer some for sports recovery. We offer some for energy, for beauty. We have some slimming IVs, hydration IVs. Obviously, the most common IV is a hangover IV. I think that's what it's kind of most known for right now, since it kind of launched in Las Vegas. I won't lie, I've had a couple of those, but outside of that, it's interesting to see when people come in and they do their first IV infusion. When they leave, it's immediate. And that's something I love about every single one of our services that we offer is it's an immediate benefit. Cryotherapy, it's an immediate benefit. IV infusion, it's an immediate benefit. We live in an instant gratification society. Hello, Amazon. We want things now. And so for me, providing a business that provides services that provide benefits immediately without having to take a medication, I don't know where else you can find that.
You did get a thumbs up from your mom that talked about the beauty IV. Hot diggity.
That's funny.
This is not it is a one-stop shop. This is not a one-dimensional company. You have done extensive research. You've talked to experts. You've talked to professionals in the field. And then we move to the infrared sauna, which I know you have in most of your centers. And if you can touch on that for 1 or 2 minutes, we'll be finishing up with a few extras. And I think the infrared sauna is one of my favorites. And, I know that you can do it's like literally a med spa. What are some of the benefits of infrared?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we first rolled out infrared sauna 6 years ago, I did not think it was going to catch the attention that it currently has. There are actually companies out there, full-fledged businesses that just do infrared sauna only. I mean, it's becoming such a big commodity in not just the wellness space, but the medical space. So the infrared technology, people don't understand, it's not just like a gym sauna where you get there and sweat. Infrared rays actually penetrate the skin and get inside the body at certain depths. So you have near infrared, you have mid infrared, and you have far infrared. So they're different wavelengths that actually penetrate different levels into the body for certain benefits. Infrared's great for skin. It's great for purification and detoxification of the body. It's great for inflammation, recovery, reduction of pain. It's good for stress and anxiety and mental clarity. There are so many different things from a perspective of wellness and prevention and recovery that can be tackled by the infrared sauna. And I think what's interesting is people don't understand how backed it is by the medical space. In 2017 alone, there were over 5,000 clinical studies done on infrared technology and promotions to prevention of health and recovery of any type of illnesses. And it's just astonishing to see that amount of information validated by the medical community in just such a short time. So for us, we've actually transitioned our mindset a little bit. We actually have several saunas in our newer iCRYO locations. It's not just one. We're building locations with 2 or 3 saunas. It's becoming such a big hit right now because there's so much data coming back on it.
Love it. And, I guess this will lead us to the last few, because I know that, I thank you for your time and appreciate you guys, joining us as we have Kyle Jones, one of the co-founders of iCRYO, someone who has really just revolutionized the health and wellness industry, not only for competitors or professional athletes or amateurs, but really just for the general population, 6 years old, all the way up to 97 years old. And I have to finish with some of our favorites. I've had knee inflammation and have had multiple knee surgeries, as well as ankle, shoulder, and that comes with the territory of playing big and playing hard. And I've noticed that when the weather would change, and we're in Houston, so it changes on a dime, I've just noticed the aches and pains, and sometimes the foods that I'm not eating provide the best optimal health for inflammation. I have found that the local and the cryo skin, I know that those are two different applications, but the local has just helped my knee tremendously with inflammation, scar tissue. And that's a pretty simple procedure where, you know, you get the same 30-degree drop. I want to finish with the bad mama, and that would be the cryofacial. There's a slimming and a toning, and I know that you can discuss more of that. And I apologize for getting too far into it, but I have to give my own testimonial on this. Holy cow! I got a facial that took off probably about 3 layers of dead skin cells, and it took 10 years off. And people thought the pictures that I was taking, I had that filter on there. It was a no filter deal. So how does it work? Just if you can explain how cryoskin works, and you can delve into that to finish up, that'd be great.
Yeah, so cryoskins, it's honestly been a hot topic over the last probably year. I would say it's been really strong. We can do slimming, we can do toning on several parts of the body, we can do Brazilian butt lifts on women. There are just so many different things that we can do from a slimming and toning aspect. Obviously, majority of the time, people want their abdomen done, right? That's something that's a big hit. But the cryofacials from Cryoskin are something that not many people talk about, but it is probably the most impactful service that we have from a beauty and anti-aging perspective. It's just such a phenomenal service. And when most people think of it, they think, oh, is it like a chemical peel? Is it going to hurt? Do I have downtime? Am I going to bruise? Am I going to bleed? You know, there are some aggressive facials out there. And for us, my answers to all that are no, right? There's no pain. There's no suffering. There's no chemical peel. There's no hurting. There's no suffering. There's no downtime. For me, that provides such an easy conversation with somebody that wants to come in and enjoy a beauty service. And just like I said, literally taking years off of the visibility of your skin and the appearance of it just with a few cryofacials. And what we do is we don't use any radio frequency. We don't use any harsh technology that could possibly damage your skin later on in life. We simply use warm and cold technology. So sub-zero temperatures applied directly to the skin in a certain contouring fashion that helps accelerate blood supply post-facial. So obviously, if you have cold applied to your skin, the blood rushes away, right? But then after the facial, the blood is reoxygenated and flushed back to the surfaces of where you're put in contact with. So we do contouring methods on the jaw, the face, the crow's nest, the top of the forehead, the parts that really get the wrinkles, right? We want to be able to dig deep in there and just bring those parts of the body out with you. So it's interesting to see how when somebody actually does the cryofacial from Cryoskin, they become a lifelong member in that service category, just because they see how impactful and easy it is.
You have a couple of customers for life. I know James Robinson, he's a professional athlete. He says that's his favorite. You look like you're about 21 years old. I'm not going to reveal your age, but let's put it this way. You are older than 21. And I love going back in time with simple procedures that cause no pain or downtime. And it almost like men's skin, it's glowing. In the women, it's definitely a must try out for sure. So if you can touch on the love handles and, you know, really how people use this for their abdomen. What is it? Is it cavitation? Is it ultrasonic? Is it cold? Is it freeze the fat cells and naturally metabolize it out? I know that might be a technical way of maybe saying it, but you might be able to explain it just in your own way.
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, we don't use any radio frequency, nothing that's going to harm the body in some form or fashion. It's interesting because we run a cold and hot business, right? We use infrared saunas, we use cryotherapy, and I wanted to keep that there. And it was very hard in the body sculpting industry to find something that didn't have a radio frequency or some type of an EMF component to it, right? And I was able to stumble across an Italian company about 3 years ago called Cryoskin. They just use super cold and warm technology to basically, so it transfers back and forth through the session. It gets down to -6 degrees and it gets up to, I think, +7 70 degrees in about a 40-minute time frame. It shuffles back and forth with certain algorithms. Now, when it does this, it actually shocks the cells into what we call apoptosis, so controlled cell death. Now, there is a form where we have to use the lymphatic system to flush out these dead fat cells. I think there's a 24% fat reduction in each targeted area. So what I explain to people is you're born with a certain amount of fat cells. Those fat cells deplete or extract depending on what you're eating, what you're drinking. But the interesting part is you're never going to be 100% done with it. So we try to educate people that this isn't just a lose weight quick thing, right? It's not a magic pill. We do give some dietary pro tips. We do give some concerns around, if you leave here and go eat a pizza and drink a beer, this is probably not going to be beneficial for you. So there is definitely a consultation phase. It's an educational process. So when we start with a guest on body contouring, we want to make sure that we stay with them through the maintenance period, through several months, right? This is a journey. This is an additive to your weight loss program.
And if you go to Kyle William Jones on Instagram, you're going to notice the transformation. You use this, you're not only a member or an owner or president, but also a client. And, that's the beauty, that's the benefit. You're able to believe in what you're doing, not only for yourself, but other people. And, you personally use the services. And I love the growth and just the way that you're able to help just really humanity in the way that you're doing this. So I just want to close with this, Kyle. And I know that, you have been someone who I've known for a while. You're someone who I trust and respect, and someone who definitely runs just one amazing company. Closing thoughts as far as really where you see the future. I know you talked about this being in a, overseas thing in 1,000 locations, but can you give us a little teaser of just the states you're in now, and maybe, I don't know, how about 2021? Give us your take on 2021 for iCRYO.
So it's definitely looking like a good year. We're opening locations in Dallas. We're opening locations in South Florida. We're opening locations in North Carolina, South Carolina. I'm actually going to be at the Raleigh, North Carolina grand opening next weekend. The guy that's out there is going to do several locations across the state. So I'll be out in Fort Wayne, Indiana again. I know Jalen's going to open his second location. It looks like he's going to go somewhere else in Indiana. I can't say where, but it's going to be interesting. We got a lot of plans for Utah, California. Arizona is going to be a huge market. We'll open up our first territory in Arizona this year. Just scattered all across the United States. You're going to see iCRYO everywhere. So if you're not near one, I guarantee you will be soon.
Good. Well, I do definitely want to respect your time. I appreciate your time. We appreciate it. The audience has a way to follow you now, and you'll be seeing Kyle probably maybe in a couple of other interviews, or hear him on podcasts, as we're going to be interviewing him in the future. But I do want to, first of all, thank all of you. And Bill, thank you for driving professionally and safely and responsibly. You can pass that along to him. And just to give you an upcoming preview of what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks, we are going to have Bill with Spice Beast. We are going to have Kenny with Nutrex, and that is a very well-known supplement company next week. I do have a huge announcement. Some of you have been waiting for this, but we have officially gotten the okay and thumbs up from legend, actor, and Michael Hearn, who's out in Venice Beach right now. He is going to be joining us as we have a 1-hour special with him. We're looking at the date to lock that down. We'll be announcing that. But, a lot of us are big fans of Mike O'Hearn, and he's someone who is well respected and followed not only in the bodybuilding industry, but also in Hollywood. And he decided that he wanted to give Scott and Lisa a shout out for the Nevada State Championships. And he is also a well-known MC. So he is a man of many talents. And we'll be talking about that. So Kyle, just to wrap up, just thank you so much for the time. We look forward to supporting iCRYO in any way that we can. And we will look forward to all of you catching up next week, 5:30, same time, same place. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, brother.